blessings. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Assalamu alaikum to all my brothers and sisters. I'm Brother Leland from the National Minister of Defense and local president of the North Carolina Division of the Line of Judah Armed Forces under the direction of our national president, Nasir X. Today's topic is going to be on unity and power. And I want to just mention that I have a small prayer that I normally have for myself, and maybe somebody else can adopt it after today. Excuse me. And my prayer is to stand on the promise of Yahuwah, the creator of the heavens and the earth, our Elohim, and take Yahusha HaMashiach, the Messiah, at his word through the Ruach HaKodesh. Amina, Amina, Amina. The question is for today, or the first question is for today, is how do we get unity and power? Excuse me. How do we get unity and power? And the comment is, in order to obtain power, we must begin to respect and obey the laws of the Almighty. Hallelujah. I realize by now that some of you think that, well, some people might think that people be hearing this over and over again. But I think it's very relevant that we hear this. And I think we should feel there is no other way of getting around it. That's what I think also. We have tried other ways and they have utterly failed. So why don't we try the Almighty, the Creator? Excuse me. Ashatan is working today. First of all, in order to acquire power, it is essential to possess unity. And in order to obtain unity, it is imperative to remove the punishments that prevent the acquisition of unity. That's getting unity. And it is the flagrant violation of Yahuwah's law that retains the punishment on us and prevent unity. I'm going to read that again. First of all, in order to acquire power, it is essential to possess unity. So unity comes first. And in order to obtain unity, it is imperative to remove the punishments or prevent the acquisition of getting unity. It is the flagrant violation of Yah's law that retains the unity, retains that on us and prevent unity. And that law is as follows. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Thy neighbor means thy brother. Leviticus 19:17, who belongs to the same race as you and I. That's our brother, our neighbor. Also, the Almighty instructed us to love the stranger of other races. But before we can do any of that, we're going to have to do something else. And I'm going to read something from Malcolm X, what he says as far as unity. Malcolm's words is, and he spoke this in Muslim mosque, will remain open for ideas and financial aid. So that applies to the Line of Judah Armed Forces also. We have to start on some dues and things like that, but I'll talk about that a little later. And aid from all quarters. Whites can help us, but they cannot join us. There can be no black unity, no black-white unity until there is first some black unity. There can be no workers' solidarity until there is first some racial solidarity. We cannot think of uniting with others until we have first united among ourselves. We cannot think of being acceptable to others until we have first proven acceptable to ourselves. That goes back to loving our brother. It goes back to loving our brother. So question was, what must we do as a nation of people in the line of Judah Armed Forces to gain unity and power. First of all, brass tacks is straight like that is like, stop violating the laws, statutes, and commandments of our Creator of the heavens and the earth. Next question is, I'm gonna get into that a little deeper. Next question is, how do we get unity and power? And this is in the line of Judah's Armed Forces statement. This is our mission statement, and this is what's inside of it to help us to unify. I'm going to read it. Mission statement, what is our mission? The line of Judah Armed Forces mission is to help free the chosen nation from mental, physical, spiritual bondage. How do we do that? We have classes like we have today. We have classes on Thursday, some we on Friday. Friday evening Zoom classes that the chairman comes up with some things for history and teaching us those things. So coming together in a meeting is first, and understanding that we have to be at those Zoom meetings because it's very important for us to be there, for us to learn these things. So the chosen nation, which is us, after being taught self-hate and division for over 400 plus years throughout the four corners of the earth, we must teach and obey the code of conduct. The code of conduct is in the training manual, Armed Forces training manual. It's in there. If you don't have it, you can probably call the chairman or a secretary or somebody like that, and they can put you into that. But the part of the code of conduct is, and I'm gonna read it to you, the code of conduct and ethics policy. It's a high standard of moral and ethical conduct, and the following policy will be adhered by all members. All members are to follow orders of the command staff. All members are to maintain professional demeanor at all times and while on duty. All members will not participate in any behavior that will lead to disharmony among the other members of the public. We'll get into that, what disharmony is in a few. All members will be polite and courteous at all times. So during those meetings, whether open or Zoom, will not participate in any form of disrespect. And some examples are no arguing, no fighting, no ungodly language, no gossiping. Under no circumstances are members to address media without permission from the chairman. So that's if we go out into the community and somebody's sticking a microphone in your face or something like that, you just keep quiet. You don't say anything unless you have instructions by the chairman. No slander of any. All members are to guard themselves from emotional fetters, those emotional ties, such as jealousy. We have a lot that going on in our communities. Jealousy, anger, greed, conceit, and envy. Envy is another one. Those two basic ones, jealousy and envy, that's what divides the nations. And it's because of the carnal nature that we have that division. If we're not spiritually minded, we're not going to be able to understand spiritual things. So we have a constant battle between the spiritual and the carnal nature, which is your flesh, which takes over most of the time if you're not spiritually minded or working towards being spiritually minded every day, every second of the hour of the day. That means coming to the mirror in the morning and dying to self daily. You have to die to self. Because if you're not being led by the spirit or the Ruach HaKodesh, then you'll be led by the flesh. So egoism, selfishness, and self-hatred. It says if any member violates this policy, disciplinary action will occur. And this is some of the things that, this is two of the things that you have to sign when you join. So some of you might remember these things. Code of conduct and ethics. The other one is, the spiritual guidance. Basic laws, basic instructions before leaving Earth. That's B-I-B-L-E. That's your ancient chronicles. B-I-B-L-E. Basic instructions before leaving Earth. The Most High, number one, is our spiritual guidance, and that's always. If we're not led by him, then we're led by something else. This is something that we have to practice every day, every day. And it's my duty to protect my national president at all times. That's for everybody, to protect our national president at all times and one another. I will not steal from my brother or my sisters. We can't do that. We see that in the communities that we go into or we grew up in or that we live in. They do this all the time, stealing from one another, breaking into houses and things like that, stealing from parents, murdering. That's another one. I will not murder. Murdering one another. We see this every day as we turn on the TV, go out the door and walk down the street. These are the things that's not of God. It's of lawlessness and Hashatan. I will not lie on anyone. Perjury. How many brothers and sisters, I'm just asking generally, brothers and sisters like that in the community you run into and that they do that? You know people like, I know people like that. I will not slander anyone. I will not spread gossip. That's another one. Something that you don't know nothing about, that you heard about, is not getting 2 or 3 people together to come up with the solutions that where this came from. That's gossip. That causes dissension. That causes division in the community. And you can't have a community without unity. You can't do it. So we have to go back to the ways of our fathers and our ancestors. I will not trespass my brother or my sister. I will not lust after another man's wife. That's the brothers, but something to them to think about. We have to conquer these things before we can move out and gain any type of unity and power amongst us. I will not lust after another woman's husband. That's the ladies. We cannot accomplish unity and power for going through this stuff. This is in the training manual. This is also in the training manual. This is also in the Ancient Chronicles, which I'm going to get into in a few more minutes. I will not fall victim to the spirit of pride. That's puffed upness, conceited, pride. They say pride comes before the fall. I don't know anything about that. And I pray that nobody that I'm speaking with or hearing the sound of my voice will do the same or have the same. This is another one. I will not fall victim for the spirit of jealousy. That's jealousy, envious. That's of somebody else that's doing something that you are able and capable of doing, but you don't want to do it because you're in the carnal nature. The Most High will speak to you if you open your heart to that moment and that time. Then you'll be on a spiritual plane. But there is going to be a constant battle between the carnal nature and the spiritual. We fight it every day. We have to die daily to self about those things. We have to recognize it. These are ways that we can accomplish unity and power. I will not fall victim to the spirit of envy. I just said that a few minutes ago. These are things that have been downfalls in our communities forever. Ever since we came over this way and been treated the way we have been treated for 400 and some odd years. Dissension amongst our others. We have the Willie Lynch letter. That's in here also. The making of a slave. We have that in the training manual. The making of a slave, it talks about fathers against brothers. Fathers against sons, sons against fathers, mothers against daughters, daughters against fathers, fathers against mothers, mothers against fathers, sisters and brothers against each other, so forth and so on. All these questions, there's a lot to having unity and power. But if we can't understand what it is to stop, then we're not going to do it. We're not going to gain unity and power. And today is my blessing and my prayer that somebody will hear this and continue on in the spiritual realm and cut that carnal nature tie. It's a battle. Yeah, it's going to be a battle. But you know what? You can overcome that battle. I mean, that battle through the Ruach HaKodesh and the Yahuwah, our Elohim, the mighty one. We can overcome that. So those are the things and some other things. We can all indoctrinate this in the line of Judah Armed Forces throughout the whole nation. But any other organization that has started without a higher power has not went anywhere that I can speak of. Only the ones I might be able to speak of is the Nation of Islam. They believe in a higher power, which is Allah. We believe in Yahuwah, the Elohim, the mighty one, the creator of the heavens and the earth. We have to have this in our DNA because it is in our DNA. We have to pull it out and put it on the forefront of our DNA. This is what we have to do. This is what unity and power is about. You can't have one without the other. If you don't have unity, you cannot gain power. Leviticus 19:17, I think I read it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself, and your neighbor means thy brother who belongs to you as the same race. Okay. So we have come to the point where we know how to get unity and power. There's other things too. I can go into it a little longer, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to continue on with the class. I just wanted to indoctrinate it in with the line of Judah Armed Forces because that's who I'm speaking to. Recruiting in numbers is essential. But also like-minded people that you recruit in numbers are very much so more essential than just recruiting. So if you have that spirit and you're leading out in the community, you have to have that light that's shining, that draws those type of individuals to you. If not, you're going to be showing your carnal nature, and they're not going to be there, and they're not going to stand forever. It's a battle, but this is something that you choose when you make these decisions to join the line of Judah Armed Forces. This is no game. This is serious. These are lives that's on the line, which we put on the line every day, and even more so at certain times in our lives. This is for our family. This is for our immediate family, and this is for our line of Judah Armed Forces family and our Black family, which we love. Everybody's not on the same page, but this is the start of everybody getting on the same page and uniting as one with the same like-mindedness that we carry this torch. Then I believe in my heart that Yahuwah is going to do it for us. Hallelujah. Again, I'm going to say, what must we do as a nation of people to gain unity and power? We have to stop violating the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Creator. Recruit for power. We have to do that. Unity, obey the laws, statutes, and commandments. Now I'm going to go into some of I'm going to read some of this first. I'm going to continue on after I read that from what I read from Malcolm's video. Love thy neighbor as thyself. In essence, this means after you have loved and done for thyself, then love and do for thy neighbor. In view of this, many Black people have many Black people have the whole thing backwards. They love first other races instead of themselves. How many of you, I know I have, I mean, I don't see no raise of hands, but I'm just asking the question rhetorically. I've seen people go to the Gentiles before they went to the brothers for a lot of things, for business, for banking, economics, all kind of stuff. Instead of putting their brothers first and sisters first, they haven't done it. We haven't acquired it. Some small parts of this organization right now, we're growing, and we're going to continue to grow. And I believe that also. All praise to the Most High. I believe that because we have grown already, and we're going to continue to grow. So they first loved other races instead of themselves. They were many times recognized and greet other races before their own kind. They would believe and trust another race before they trust their own. I'm quite sure a few of you people already know that. I'm sorry, family. The way our people behave is like putting the cart before the horse, as if they expected the cart to lead the horse. That's backwards. That's asinine. Doesn't make any sense. This is the reason that we have not attained good results. This is one of the reasons. We have not regained or gained good results for power and unity, or unity and power. Because you can't get unity, you can't get power unless you have unity. And so forth. During captivity in America, their minds are in captivity. Our minds, some of us are still in captivity. Number two, with this kind of attitude prevailing among blacks, can you say that they love each other? I can say no. I can say that. No, it's not enough of us loving one another unconditionally. I mean, I'm not saying love somebody that's running in your house and trying to do something to you. I'm talking about like, well, you got to love your brothers and sisters anyway, and you pray for them, and you pray that those things change, but not with only prayer, with these classes, Zoom classes, meetings, things like that. We can get to people that have things going on in their lives that may be able to change their lives if they come to the line of Judah Armed Forces and be somebody that they can stand up in the community and people will recognize. That's power. That's power. So, no, you can't say that because of what they've been doing. No, since they don't love each other and can't stand to be around each other, then I ask you, with these negative attitudes, how can we come together in unity? I just gave a few examples how we can do that. I just gave a few, but I'm going to give a few more. And they can't because they have violated one of the main laws of Yah. They shall love thy neighbor as thyself. As a result of this violation, the punishment remains with blacks. And we are just as divided now as freemen as they were divided under slavery. There we was on physical shackles. Today we are on mental shackles. We got to unlearn the lies and rebirth the mind. That's what these classes are about. They're very, very, very important. The Most High says things 3 times. That means that it's very, very, very important. It's just not very important. It's very, very, very important. And this is for our benefit, for our families, our children, upcoming generation. Our warriors is joining. And all praises to the new warriors that just came in recently. All praises. Just a minute. Okay, here are the list of some of the laws Almighty created which we violate, that are essential for the maintenance of orderly society or community or acquisition of unity. We read this before in the manual. Thou shalt not kill, Exodus 20:13. That means killing our brothers and sisters, not just in self-defense, but just going out and killing somebody. Or, thank you, brother. Just going out and killing somebody just for lolly-da, just for nothing. Thou shalt not steal from thy brother. We see that going on. We spoke about that in the manual, training manual. Thou shalt not commit adultery, Exodus 20:14. Thou shalt not bear false witness, perjury, and lie, 2016, Exodus 20:16. Thou shalt not covet or want thy neighbor's goods, Exodus 20:17. All these are in Exodus, what I'm reading right now. Exodus 20:13, 20:15, 20:14, Exodus 20:16, Exodus 20:17, Exodus 20:20. Honor thy father and thy mother. How many people, how many times we turn on the TV and somebody's cussing out their mother, their father, or something like that, or they're not honoring their parents, because they say if you honor your mother and your father, your days on this earth shall be long. That's what the word says. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. These gods, what are some of these gods that we put before the Most High? These are so many things that's stopping us from being unified and having unity in the community. We need to unlearn the lies and rebirth the mind. These other gods, money, used the wrong way, power, used the wrong way, materialistic things, putting before the Most High. The Most High is first and foremost in our lives every day, or should be every day. It's a constant battle between the carnal nature and the spiritual nature. But if we continue to have the faith that we will overcome these things and work towards this, we will make it to the end. And that smiteth or beat his father or his mother shall be put to death. That used to be in the old days. It's not like that anymore. Exodus 21:15. And he that curses his father or his mother shall be put to death. Exodus 21:17. Thou shalt neither vex a stranger nor oppress him. For ye children of the Israelites were strangers in the land of Egypt, Africa, and Exodus 22:21. So these are the things that we're doing to ourselves that they did to us. Because the Most High let us go in those positions, in those times, because we disobeyed him. We disobeyed him. We're being punished. Some of us are being punished. The ones that's not following our Elohim, the creator of the heavens and the earth, they're being punished. Ye shall not afflict any widow or fatherless child, Exodus 22:22. If thou lend money to any of my people that is poor by thee, thou shalt not be to him as a usurer, neither shalt thou lay usury. Usury is interest. That's just crazy. That's what it says. This is the word says. Shouldn't be having all the interest. Ye shall not therefore oppress one another, exploit or get over on one another. We see that all the time too. Men exploiting their women, our queens, our beloved sisters. We see things like that in our community. We have to stop it. If we don't, who will? It's best to die for your brother and your sister. That's the best thing you can do. And it's that serious. Yes, it's that serious. Time for playing games is over. If we want unity and power, these are the things we have to adhere to. Ye shall not therefore oppress one another or get over one. I'll just say that. Now I'm reading Leviticus 25:17. That's a book that has a bunch of laws in it. Exodus 20 also has some laws, but this book has many laws in it. Ye shall not steal, neither deal falsely, neither lie to one another. We read that in that training manual. All this coincides with the line of Judah Armed Forces. This wasn't by happenstance that this name came about. Our brother was chosen. And he's doing a very good job of doing it. He just needs a little help from his soldiers, from his family. I got his back. 100%. because the Most High has our back. Hallelujah. Thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor, neither rob him. These are what our people do. We do all these things to one another. And people do it to us, but we do it to one another. We're talking about us right now. That's what we're talking about. Us. Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer, lying on people among the people, running around telling lies. Leviticus 19:16. I'm sorry, the other one was Leviticus 19:11, Leviticus 25:17. And now this is really crazy here. If a man lie with mankind and he lies with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. That's the worst thing that you can do. And some of our people do that. And if a man lie with a beast, he shall surely be put to death, and he shall slay the beast. And if a woman approach unto any beast and lie down thereto, they shall kill the woman and the beast. Leviticus 20:16. These are abominations. These things happen in our communities. Things are being exposed, revealed every day. Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Leviticus 19:18. I'm going to read that again. Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people. Who's the children of thy people? We are. But thou shalt love thy neighbor, our brothers and sisters who look like us. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Stop violating the laws of our Creator. Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore. That's done. That's being done. That's being exposed every day. Ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment. That's meeting out, weighting, and measuring scale. So unrighteousness in judgment. So we can't judge anybody unrighteously carnally. Righteous judgment, we can do that because of the spiritual nature. We can do that. Just balance. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. Thou shalt not in any wise rebuke thy neighbor, tell him about it if he does anything wrong, and not suffer upon him. So thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor. Tell him about it. Let him know. If something is going on, let him know. If it's not correct, straighten it out. There's got to be rebuke, a reprove. It has to be. These are things that we have to do. We got work to do, and there's plenty of work for each one of us to do. It's not about just running out in the community. This is individually starting at your home, in your household. Then it branches out into community. That's how you build unity in the community, in your household first. Set things in order. Because the Most High is orderly. The Most High, the man, the wife, the family. That's the way it is. And he loves us. And he'll die, and he died for us. Okay, there are two ways to hate thy brother. One, when you believe that he did something wrong or behaved in a way you detest, you detest. Number two, or because you hate yourself. Read that again. There are two ways to hate thy brother. When you believe that he did something wrong, of course, if he did something wrong, you get pissed off at him, you get, oh man, he said and such. You can't hate him. You can hate the deed that he did, but don't hate him. That's the thing that people get confused about. You can't hate that person for what they did. You hate the reason why they did it. Don't hate them. And the other one, like I said, number two, because you hate yourself. In other words, you hate him and yourself because the skin is black. Let me start all over, excuse me. The skin is black, and you have the notion that black people are racially inferior. Some of our brothers and sisters are walking around feeling that right now, that we inferior. Knowledge of self is knowing who you are. Marcus Garvey says, a people without knowledge of their past, history, origin, culture is like a tree without roots. Knowledge of self, by knowing your past history, your origin, and your culture, that's knowledge of self. That means you have to study. That means you have to come to classes. That means you have to do research. That means you have to read. That means you have to talk to like-minded people in order to get these things across in your mind so you can have it to your understanding. Okay? Okay, I'm reading. In other words, you hate him and yourself because the skin is black and you have the notion that black people are racially inferior. We are not. We are kings and queens. And we have been. And this is what the Gentiles put in our heads and put shackles on us. But now our minds, we were released from the shackles, but it's still in our minds. Unlearn the lies, rebirth the mind. This kind of hatred is referred to as self-hatred. Self-hatred results by lacking the knowledge of the greatness of your ancestors and the contribution that they rendered for the advancement of the world, civilization, and the betterment of mankind. Did you hear me? If not, I'm read it again. Self-hatred results by lacking the knowledge of the greatness of your ancestors and the contribution that they rendered for the advancement of world civilization and the betterment of mankind. We have to do that now. It hasn't been done yet, but we have to do that. It says you can read about the great exploits of Black people by reading this book called From Babylon to Timbuktu, From Babylon to Timbuktu by Rudolph R. Windsor. W-I-N-D-S-O-R, Rudolph R. Windsor, From Babylon to Timbuktu. The other book that I'm looking at is called The Valley of the Dry Bones. The conditions that face Black people in America. Rudolph R. Windsor. This is where I'm getting this information from. I just wanted to share it with you. Some of us don't know our great history. I didn't know all of mine. Yeah, well, I've been knowing mine for, not all of it, but I've known a lot since 15 years old. I'm not going to tell you how old I am right now. But anyway, all praises to the Most High for me still being here on this earth. Because our oppressors deprived us of it. They distorted our history. They deprived us of it. That was their plan from the beginning when they first came to get us. Deprive us. Take care of strip of us our origin, our civilization, our language, our culture, all of that, and much more. Distorted our history, deliberately and systematically misinterpreted our history. Read that again. Deliberately and systematically misinterpreted our history and flavored it with race prejudice in order to leave us with an inferiority complex. Yeah, it's a little small story he was talking about, but I don't know if I'll read it. One story that this guy read, Rudolph R. Windsor, said he heard when he was a boy that the Africans swung from trees like monkeys. But in reality, the only people whom he ever saw swinging through trees back in those days, this is a long time ago, I don't know how many people know about it, was about Tarzan and Jane, two white people flying through the jungles on trees with roots or something, yelling like mad people. As we can see, this hatred of as we can see, this kind of self-hatred is derived from not having racial pride. Racial pride is also knowledge of self, knowing who you are. Like I said, a few people might have heard that terminology, knowledge of self. This is what knowledge of self is: knowing who you are off the top, your culture, your history, your language, where you came from, who you are. Not having racial pride and knowledge of our history. The Almighty created us to love our brothers and our sisters. It is logical to conclude that he wants us to love ourselves because he said, again, love thy neighbor as thyself. This is over and over and over again in the ancient chronicles. He's telling us love ourselves. He's giving us chance 70 times 70, over and over and over and over again. But what we keep doing, hard-headed, stiff-necked people, we need to get out of that stuff. We need to take those shackles off our mind, unlearn the lies, and rebirth the mind. That's what we need to do as a family. Then we'll have unity in the community, our homes, and outside of our homes in the community. And anyone who does not love himself violates God's law. So actually, we are all violating God's laws, transgressing those laws. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing in essence. Now, this is what he wants from us. He wants us to be happy with ourselves, but not to be egotistical. If any individual doesn't love himself or his race, how in the world can he work together for his community or humanity? Hallelujah. That makes a lot of sense to me. He wants us to be happy. His laws, statutes, and commandments are not grievous. It's not hard. Our hearts are hard. We got stony hearts. We need to make it into fleshly hearts. That's what we need to do as a people, as a nation, as an organization. The Lion of Judah Armed Forces. All praises to the Most High. It is not likely, this is the basic reasoning. The Black race in America finds it insurmountable problem to muster concerted effort to accomplish our objective as a consequence. We are impotent and incapable in acquiring real social, economic, and political power. He's showing us how to get all this stuff we're talking about. I've heard these questions over and over in the past almost year that I've been here. How we do this, how we do that, how we do this. I'm giving it to you today. This is how we do it. This is how we acquire and become potent and capable instead of impotent and incapable in acquiring real social, economic, political power. This is how we do it. Coming to the end, pretty much. I got a few more things summary. I'm gonna look over a few things before I do that. Well, the question is, it has at the bottom, could this only be for Black people or white people or Gentiles? It says the punishments in conclusion do not apply to the white races because they simply do not fit the total description of these punishments. Those people over in Israel, they're not the true Israelites, the true Hebrews. We are, and they know it. They know it. They know it. The Europeans were not imported to America in large numbers by compulsion as captive slaves. Only a few were indentured servants for a limited number of years. An indentured servant only worked like 3 or 4 years for a certain amount of land, money, or clothes or food or something like that, housing, and they moved on. Slaves couldn't move on. That's when the Jim Crow era came in after they supposedly abolish slavery, but that's another story. But the vast majority of Europeans came to America as free immigrants. The Europeans did not sustain the destruction of their manhood, history, identity, language, or culture. This should make somebody a little upset. All these things we just spoke about. This should make you a little bit peeved about what's been going on in our community, to us, to our people, our loved ones. Some people we might even know that's been close. We should be on fire about what's going on and about really building this unity and adhering to the law, statute, and commandments of the Most High, Yahuwah, or a higher power, if you want to say, because there's only one. And that one is powerful. The Europeans were not exploited economically, became the masters of exploitation. Europeans did not sustain chronic psychological degradation, mental degradation, physical mutilation. You know what happened to those what they call them, forbidden fruits swinging in the breeze? I used to cut off some of those brothers' manhoods, cut off their ears, cut off their toes, cut off their just, and then pose like trophies. These are demons that's doing this stuff. But we have a higher power, which is the Most High, and He'll protect us from all this stuff. So, in closing, let me add that according to history in the Bible, all these punishments are supposed to happen to a black people because the original Israelites were black, had woolly hair. I think we got through it pretty much. I don't know if I left anything out. Self-determination, I don't think I might have spoke on that. Having racial pride and knowledge of self. Yeah, it's determination. Well, we have to have that. We have to be determined to find out who we are in order to have the pride and knowledge of self through learning the history of our ancestors. Okay, there's a few things here. Let me see. A couple of things. I'm just going to go through this and that'll be done for the day. I really appreciate everybody being here. Worldwide dispersal, that was us. Psychological and biological and physical punishment and economic punishment. We see that every day. So I think that'll be it for today. I pray the Most High continues to be with us throughout this day. If anybody got any questions at the end of this here, they can go ahead and or any comments or concerns about what I said. If it was, the Most High just the Ruach HaKodesh just came to me. I think I totally went away from what I was supposed to be speaking of directly, but I pray that it got through to everybody that's on this Zoom. And I appreciate all of you for being here today. And I hope to see everybody at the annual training.